Well, hello Internet, and welcome to part 24 of my Ultimate Python 3 tutorial series. In this part of the tutorial, I'm going to cover iterables as well as custom iterables that you can use with your custom classes using magic methods. Alright, so an iterable is a stored sequence of values or a list. And as we will see when we cover generators, an object that produces one value at a time. Now, iterables are going to differ from iterators in that an iterable is an object with an iter method, which returns an iterator. An iterator is an object with a next method, which retrieves the next value from a sequence of values. So let's see some examples. First, I'm going to define sample string and convert it into an iterator. So equal to iter and sample. Now that I created that, I can say print and character and follow that up with next sample string, and then we can call that again. And as we run it, you can see it'll cycle through that string and print out each next character every time we call next. So let's create a custom iterable. So I'm going to create a class and I'm going to call it alphabet. Again, I'm going to call the initialization function. Then I'm going to say self letters is equal to, make sure we throw self inside of here, and I'll throw every single letter inside of there. You can pause your screen and type that out if you'd like. And then I'm going to go self index is equal to -1. Now I'll go iter, and remember what I said, an iterable is an object with this iter method inside of it. And here I will return self. Then after that, I'm going to come in and go define next like that. And with this one, I'm going to say if self index is greater than or equal to the length of self letters -1, then in that situation, I'll say raise stop iteration, and then self index and increment our index to cycle through these guys, and return self letters and call self index. So now that we created that, I can create an alphabet object by going alphabet and then cycle through this. This is giving me the squiggly line only because I don't have two spaces after that method, but I want to try and keep everything on one line. So I'm going to say for letter in alpha, print letter. Run it, and you can see it prints all of those letters all on separate lines because it's pulling them out one at a time. So let's do another one here. I'm going to say that I want to iterate through a dictionary because it is also an iterable. So let's say something like Derek is equal to F name, follow that up with Derek, and then go L name and my last name. And now what I'll be able to do is say for key in Derek and print the key and then the value as well. Run it, boom, also works. Alright, so cool stuff. And now that you know all that you have learned right here, I want you to try to solve a problem. Now, we have done a lot with Fibonacci values in the past, so what I want you to do is to create a class that returns values from a Fibonacci sequence each time next is called. So pause your video, give that a try, otherwise I'm going to solve it right now. So I'm going to go and call this class fib generator and define the initiation function, or initialization function, I should say. I'm going to go self and first is equal to 0, and self second is equal to 1. This is a little bit more complicated than some of the other recent problems. So if you don't get it, don't worry. Goal is just to get you to think in new ways and to exercise your programming mind. So define next self, and I'm going to say fib num is equal to self first plus self second. Then I can say self first is equal to self second, and then self second is equal to our fib number. And then I can return our fib number. See, so a little bit of thinking there, a little bit more complicated than what we have covered before. And then I will call fib generator like so. And then we can say for I in range 10, for example, and call print fib that, and then we can call next fib sequence and run it, and you can see it generated all those values we expected. Alright, so there you go. Hopefully you got that right. If not, like I said, don't worry about it. And like always, please leave your questions and comments below. Otherwise,